Hi, my name is Sue Arnott and I'm the owner of Vitality Lady. I offer a no-holds-barred approach to living well with fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome or post-polio syndrome. Thank you for joining me again on my video series, The Truth About Health. Today I'm going to talk to you about water. Your body is crying out for it. You will learn today while you may not be sick, you may just be dehydrated. You will learn a super simple way to know if you are hydrated or dehydrated, and the one simple secret that will dramatically decrease symptoms of chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, or post-polio syndrome, and many other illnesses. Today we are sicker than ever. We are taking more medications than any other time in history. There's over 100,000 people dying because of properly prescribed medications each year, and another 100,000 people plus dying from improperly prescribed medications each year. That is huge. And I believe the biggest mistake that's being made today is that we're taking medications when we don't need to, when we may just be dehydrated. Medications like painkillers and antacids. I believe antacids is probably the number one. And dehydration may just be the thing that needs to be addressed instead of taking those drugs. I don't suggest that you stop taking medications, absolutely not. Definitely, without your doctor's advice, that would be not a good thing to do. Your doctor is there to help you with your symptoms when you get sick. That's what their training is. They're not there to prevent you getting sick in the first place. They don't have the time or the expertise. What I am simply suggesting is that I'm offering you information on the role that water plays in your health, as well as the damaging effects of chronic dehydration. And I recommend that you take this information and you learn more, and you just run with this, and you take this information and you share it with your doctor, because he or she will be very happy to know that you're doing what you can to be healthy. It'll make their job easier, and they'll be happy to know that you're getting well. So please share it with them. To be healthy, you need four things, many other things, but the four main things you need are good quality food, and I talked about that in my last video. If you haven't seen that, please go back and look for video number 3. We need good quality food. We need water, real water. We need movement, and we need sunlight. And you must have all four to be well. But most people don't get nearly enough water. And in fact, if you're not sipping water all day long, every day, then you're most likely chronically dehydrated. Can that be fixed? Yes, absolutely it can. So as we age, we lose our ability to recognize thirst, and we tend to think we're hydrating ourselves by drinking tea and coffee and colas and soft drinks and energy drinks and that sort of thing. And the problem with that is that a lot of those things have caffeine. Caffeine is not a good thing. It exhausts the brain, first of all. It makes you tired. It hurts your bones, especially if you're drinking different drinks or a lot of coffee. It will hurt your bones because it leaches calcium out of your bones. It makes your body acidic. I think the main thing I want to point out is that it depletes your brain of energy, and it's a major cause of ADHD. They're now looking at it, dehydration, as being a very major cause of Alzheimer's. So this is very, very important, and I believe that the basis of a future approach to medical research should involve hydration. It's that vital. All of your systems in your body depend on it. Your brain depends on it. Your nervous system, every cell in your body depends on it. So if you're suffering with anxiety or depression, really look at how hydrated you are, because being dehydrated is one of the major causes of that. So water is primary source of energy. It's life-giving, life-sustaining. If I allow myself to get dehydrated, which rarely happens because I drink about 2 to 3 liters of water a day, but if I get a little dehydrated, I always know, because I'm not as positive. My energy goes right down. I start feeling little pains in my body, and I have post-polio syndrome, so staying well hydrated keeps that away. I feel tired, I feel lethargic, and stress level goes up, of course. So if that's what happens, I know if I'm dehydrated, because that will happen. As soon as I get back to being hydrated, that all goes away. So if you have things like pain from heartburn or angina or fibromyalgia, headaches, leg pain, colitis pain, if you're bloating, if you have menstrual pain, if you have back or neck pain or indigestion, any of those things, they will be significantly better if you stay well hydrated. But what do? We tend to take painkillers for those things, and they're very, very dangerous. They make us acidic. They cause major problems down the road, when all you probably need is to stay well hydrated. Like I said, it's now known that dehydration of the brain is now a primary cause of Alzheimer's, and as well anxiety and depression, and then now looking into and I really believe that it's a leading cause of chronic fatigue syndrome. So I'm looking more into that. So take the time to stay hydrated, avoid metabolic complications, and your symptoms right now, including those of chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, and postpartum syndrome, will get better. Folks, look, your health is like a business. It's like your relationships, like everything else. It goes along like this. And for everybody, sooner or later, either does this or it does this. It'll get better, or stay the same, or it'll get worse. Most people, it does this. It does a dive. And there's no set age for that. Some people it's young, some people it's older. But what you're doing now is going to determine if it goes up or stays the same, stays good, or if it goes down. And look at the statistics out there, folks. You want to make sure it stays the same or goes up. Okay, so really look at this. A lot of young people think it's cool to walk around with an energy drink or a blue drink or a pink drink or whatever. It's not cool later on when you're deathly sick. So stay away from those kinds of things. It's cool to drink water. It's cool to walk around with a water bottle. It really is. So please be aware of that. If you have high blood pressure or high cholesterol, diabetes, if you have weight issues, if you're stressed, if you have heart arrhythmias, they're all negatively impacted if you're dehydrated. They can all be so much more improved if you're well hydrated. And I can go into very complicated explanations about this, but for the purposes of time, I'm not going to do that. But if you're dehydrated, your weight will increase. It'll be harder for you to lose weight. If you're dehydrated, your stress will go up. If your stress goes up, your weight will increase, and your dehydration will go up as well. You'll be more dehydrated. If you're stressed, you need more water. So to decrease stress and decrease weight, become better hydrated. I promise you, you will feel much better. So what to do? How do you stay well? Well, in previous videos I talked about eating a solid, healthy, plant-based diet. That's number one. Sunshine. You need sunshine every day. You need movement or exercise. I'm going to talk about that next week. You need to stay well hydrated. And one thing that most people don't talk about, and I really want to point this out to you, is when you're hydrated, you also need to regulate the water in your body. And how do you do that? Well, with a good quality salt. You need to have salt. Your body needs it. You know, your body has to have it. The kind of salt that's in processed food and iodized salt, and no, you don't want that in your body. But you can buy in good quality stores great quality salt, and you do need it. And just a little tip, I'm going to get personal here. If you are dealing with involuntary, I think they call it involuntary urine leakage, if 1 minute you don't want to pee and the next minute you're like, I can't hold it, you're not regulating the water in your body. So get a good quality salt, okay? Be careful if you're eating processed food. You want to pull back on that, of course, as well. So how do I become hydrated? Well, only drink water, real fresh, clean water. And am I suggesting you can't have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea? Of course not. Some tea is good for you. And yes, there's the occasional bit of research that said coffee is good for you as well. I'm not sure about that. I think that's maybe the coffee producers putting that out. But, you know, enjoy that. But if you're going to drink that, increase the water again. okay? If you're not used to drinking water, start with 1 or 2 glasses a day. If you are a water drinker, you should be on about 2 to 3 liters a day. Now, if anybody's telling you, oh, well, you should drink a half an ounce per pound of body weight or an ounce per kilogram of body weight, don't worry about that. Let's just designed to keep you confused. You don't need to know that. All you need to know, what will tell you if you're well hydrated once you get to the point of drinking enough is your pee like a pale yellow? If it's really clear, you're probably drinking too much. If it's dark or it fluctuates, you're not quite there yet. That's all you need. You need a pale yellow pee all day long. That's how you know. Because 2 people of the same weight can drink the same amount of water and one will process it differently than the other. I know that I need a lot of water. Somebody else my weight may not need as much to have the same level of hydration. Okay, so go by that. Forget the numbers. I'm all about keeping it simple. What type of water? Well, again, I've talked about avoiding colas and sports drinks and caffeine as much as possible. I'm not saying you can't have it, but you want to become hydrated, right? So bear that in mind when you choose what to drink. Rivers and lakes, they're quite contaminated today. I would not risk drinking right out of a river or lake, no matter how good it is or how clean it looks. Tap water, straight from the tap without a carbon filter, I don't recommend it because the pipes today that were laid decades ago have sediment in them. Who knows what's in there? So I wouldn't recommend that unless you put a carbon filter on your tap. If you have a suppressed immune system, you need to be very, very cautious. Even if the water is chlorinated, it needs to be well filtered. If you have a well, I recommend you test it often. You chlorinate it. You test for surface water leaks, and make sure you have a chlorine filter on your shower head as well. Bottled water. Bottled water, I don't like bottled water. Companies claim that they add ozone, which is just another word for oxygen, to the water when they're bottling it to kill bacteria. Most bottled waters are tap water. Adding the ozone to it, I don't know, and I haven't found any research that says, even though it evaporates off, it's just passed through the water, I haven't seen any research that says that it can affect us negatively or not. So I don't want, my premise is, if in doubt, leave it out. I don't want to take that chance. But if you're stuck somewhere and it's really, really hot and you don't have water with you, could it be better than nothing? Maybe. One thing I want to point out to you, though, is in plastic bottles. You don't know if those plastic bottles or a case of, were in a case left in the sun somewhere before it got to you. And there is some very, very interesting research that says that if you take a plastic bottle with water in it, leave it out in the sun, even for a short period of time, there's some very dangerous chemicals leaching into that water from the heat of the sun on that plastic. You don't want that in your body, and you don't know if that bottle's been sitting out in the sun or not. In fact, I've been to some outdoor events where I've walked behind stands where they sell water, and I've seen cases of water sitting in the sun. So just be very, very aware of that, and just, it's thinking ahead. It's saying, how can I get my water? I'm going here, let's take my water with me. I don't recommend bottled water at all. Water filters, again, this is it's all preference, but a carbon filter on your tap works well. You can get upwards of 600 gallons of good quality water that pass through a carbon filter. I have one in my refrigerator. I use water from my refrigerator. It removes all toxic metals, it removes chemicals, chlorine, some fluoride, bacteria, giardia, and cryptosporidium. I use the water from my fridge, as I said. I find it fine. I'm not a water snob, and I've been doing that all my life. I find it fine. You may want to go one step further, in which case you can go to an RO, a reverse osmosis system. That does the same thing, except it has 3 filters on it, so it does a better job, but it's also more expensive. Filters, there are a lot of very fancy filters out there that cost thousands of dollars that say that you can make the water alkaline or acid or whatever you need it for. you know, be aware that those products pay very, very high commissions to the salespeople. So if you're considering one of those, I'm not saying they're bad. If they're considering one of those, please look into it. Look at the kind of filtration. Look and see if there's any sediments being passed through into the water that you might drink. Really, really look hard into it. Contact the company, ask questions, because they can be $3,000–4,000. And I don't know if there's any research out there that says if you play with the pH and the alkalinity of the water, is that good for the body? I'm not sure. So again, it's a matter of preference, but do your homework on this. Some of you may be saying, you know, if I drink that much water, all I'm going to be doing is sitting in a bathroom all day. Well, yes, if you go from one extreme to the other, that's the case. If you do it gradually, it's not. When I drink 2 or 3 liters of water a day, yes, I may go to the bathroom more often than you, but I'm not in the bathroom every hour. My body is using that water, okay? So don't worry about that. That's unimportant. It really doesn't matter. But just like I say, take it slowly. If you want to feel better, have less pain, less stress, less bloating, better digestion, clearer thinking, better memory, and just drink more water. It's that simple. And couple that with your food. There are some times, and I am running out of time a little bit, to avoid drinking water around meals. It's something I help people with their issues. So homework, I'm going to give you some homework to do. For the next 30 days, if you're not drinking water, just add 2 glasses a day. Clean water, filtered if possible. And then after 30 days, add 1 or 2 more, and do that for another 30 days. And if you're drinking a lot of coffee or a lot of alcohol, start pulling back to 1 or 2 a day. I know a lot of people like to think they drink a lot of red wine, it's good for the heart and it prevents breast cancer and so on. There's a lot of downsides to that sort of information as well. So water is the best thing that you can drink. I just want to say as well, look, we get to an age where we get so busy in our lives and we stop asking questions. And when we stop asking questions, especially the question why, we stop learning. And then we get to an age where we think we should know. And we think we're doing okay, and we say, well, yeah, I'm doing okay, it could be better, but whatever. And we don't ask questions, and we don't say, well, you know what, who can help me out there? So don't get to that age, okay? At any age, it's absolutely fine to say, I don't know, and I need some help. So please go to my website at www.vitalitylady.ca. Look at my programs. When I work with clients, I do a very thorough assessment. We get a little personal, but I want to know what your body is telling you, and I can provide a lot of information when it comes to you know, telling you what those signs mean and what to do about them now. And, you know, as well, you have to know what you want. So please go to my website, read my articles, look at the programs I offer. Next week, I'm going to talk about exercise. Do you really know if it's good for you? Well, of course, we all know exercise and movement is good for you, but I'm going to share some information that may surprise you. And I know a lot of you have probably joined gyms this spring. What you may be doing may be hurting you or healing you. And you may be surprised at some of what I will be sharing with you. I've spent over 20 years as a personal trainer and a medical exercise specialist. I'm going to be sharing some things with you that I think you'll find very, very interesting. So you need to know if it's hurting you or healing you. And if you've never done it, and if you hate it, and you're too tired to move, or you're in too much pain to move, please come back, because I'm going to share some ideas where you're going to say, aha, okay, I can do that. Okay, so come back next week, and I'm going to be sharing a lot more with you as well. So I thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a great week. Get that water bottle, get online, buy some stainless steel water bottles, really get into the habit of taking water with you everywhere you go. And if you're going somewhere where you can't get water, do what I do. Throw a little cooler in the car with some ice packs, get a few water bottles that aren't plastic, fill them up with water at home and take them with you, and make sure you keep them cool and take them with you. And that's what I do when I go and sit on the beach all day. So, and I do sit in the sunshine all day, by the way. It's very good for you. So anyway, take care, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye bye for now.